kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Welcome in, everybody, once again to the Racers Elite Truck Series here on Tuesday night on Sim Racing Media. I'm Mike Demoney up in the booth. Joined with me this week is David Modespaw. Yep. Modespaw. Dave's going to join us this week, so we'll see some terrific racing action here from Darlington. Last week, we were at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We had a interesting race. Alan Dobbs wound up bringing home the victory, leading the most laps as well. Shelly Kitzman in second, and Austin John Smith, defending series champion, was third. We'll bring up the point standings real quick. Alan Dobbs does have a 1-point lead over week one winner Joshua Neal, Shelly Kitzman, and Troy Thomas. Stuck there, tied in third. Austin John Smith fifth. Alex Teft, Braxton Barrett, Daniel Honeycutt, and Brandon Sanfilippo round out the top 9 with Truth Hoke in 10th. That is where we start tonight as they get ready to qualify. If we can jump in here. Well, David, since this is your first time joining us, what do you expect out of Darlington?
Darlington is always one of those tricky tracks. Really expect to see these drivers push their limits and make their way towards that outside wall and earn their Darlington stripe here on this historic track. And really excited to see. It's been a long time. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier. A long time since I've seen some good truck racing. So excited to see that. And of course, excited to see how these drivers can handle these trucks on such a tricky track.
Yeah, definitely. This guy's had a little bit of a rough week last week, but looking to bounce back. Like Philip Archibald's going to be the first truck in that 99 machine to get a qualified lap here at 30.19. Some guys to look out for. You can look out for Daniel Honeycutt. He's been pretty quick in practice here. Rolling through now his first qualifying lap, coming to the start-finish line. See what his time is. Like it didn't count. It might have got into that outside wall a little too much as he gets loose there. Defending champ Austin Smith up there with the 29.76. Alan Dobbs, last week's winner. 29.81 first time by. I mean, Darlington is one of those weird shaped tracks. It's not, it's not a traditional oval as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are completely different corners. You're going to want to watch your entry and exit on both of those. Jump over to Brandon Puffenbarger here.
Great wide angles at the end of 1 and 2 there, where you can really lay into the throttle of any of the vehicles that you would race here on this track, these trucks especially. And then, as you mentioned, getting down into 3 and 4, a much tighter turn. Really have to get on those brakes, get that truck woed up, make sure you're making it around the turn, and then ease back into the throttle coming down the front straightaway. Should make for some great racing tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And when you come into the corners, you've got, 1 and 2 are banked at 25 degrees, whereas 3 and 4 is 23, and the front and back stretch are basically flat. So you kind of go up and down a hill when you're entering and exiting the corners. Puffenbarger with the 29.98 that time by. See if we can get on one of these drivers' noses here when they start their lap and go around the track a little bit. Brandon Sanfilippo here. Get on the roof cam here. You can just see how that exit of turn 2 there kind of forces you almost up into that wall.
100%. And with the way that that wall kind of comes out at you a little bit as well on the exit of the turn, that is where everyone famously earns that Darlington stripe. And then 3 and 4, as we watch there, much tighter turn. Really got to control that throttle on your way through turns 3 and 4 there.
Yeah, you definitely have to do that. Jump over to the 26 Chevy of Jeremy Carter. These guys also instituted instant limits, so everybody's going to have to be driving a little bit more careful. Maybe show a little bit more patience here as they work their way through these 110 laps around this Darlington Speedway here. Or Raceway. Like we have a few drivers left to go yet. Looks like Alex Teft, Brandon Honeycutt, Braxton Garrett, Sean Lorbeski, Dwayne McMahon, and Andrew Teft. Looks like Andrew Teft just jumped in his car, as did Troy Thomas. So still some pretty fast rides here towards the end. Michael Brooks there finishing it off. Kinsley Smith. Kinsley's grown a lot since the first race I saw him in. He was kind of trying to make a name for himself pretty quick, but he's taken his time, got some experience on the track, and seems to run mid-pack or towards the front later in the run than he did when he first jumped in the league here.
Certainly something to be said of both approaches, but very respectable to start off kind of hot and heavy, trying to make your way up towards the front, but then realizing, hey, I need to take some extra time, get that practice in, and really hone my race craft overall. And then to be up here to compete, that's great to see. Love to see drivers do it, especially here in the truck series. Great way to get it done with these trucks being a little more forgiving than their counterparts in the Xfinity or Cup Series rides.
Definitely. We got several people tuning in into the YouTube chat. The Allen Experience, Michael Smith Jr., Corey Kroll going up, Joshua Neal, Austin Smith, Thomas S., Chillis Cochran. Like everybody's looking forward to tonight and see what these guys can do. See who else is left. Looks like we're left with about 4 drivers. And they're probably, I'd say, almost doing my strategy of I'll just start in the back and try and stay out of everybody's way.
Certainly not a bad strategy to have here at Darlington. As mentioned, the track itself being a bit trickier than normal, and drivers really having to figure out how to not only handle the track, but then race around each other in traffic. So sometimes taking that run at the back of the field to start the race gives you a little bit of an advantage, see how everybody else is handling the track, and then give you some opportunity to find a way around.
Yeah, definitely I mean, it's a long race. I mean, it's 110 laps. These guys run their usual 65% fuel, so there's going to be there's going to be several pit stops here. So definitely want to keep that in mind when you're thinking about pit strategy. We'll probably see some guys go a little bit shorter runs. Some guys try and stretch it out as far as they can, but be interesting to see what plays out here. We're still got about a minute and a half left in this qualifying session before they jump on over to the race session. Right now, pole setter is Alan Dobbs, last week's winner. Austin Smith is sitting P2 right now. So I think we're going to have a pretty tough battle right off the bat. These guys were around each other most of the race last week as well. So we'll see how this race works out here.
Drivers, for the most part, wrapped up with qualifying. Some last-minute trucks taken to the track, seeing if they can lay a time down, if they have enough time to lay some time down. Watching the 43 of Teft right now, turning a couple laps.
Looks like he'll probably get 1 lap in, so we'll see how good this lap is as he works his way around the track. Looks like we're having a little battle in our YouTube chat between Upfront Motorsports and Midwest Motorsports. 30-60 for Teft there. And that will do it for his qualifying try there. Let's see if we can get these guys jumping in their cars here. Like we have 28 drivers set to take on Darlington here tonight. So we got Alan Dobbs and Austin Smith, like I said, on that front row. Braxton Barrett and Brandon Sanfilippo in row 2. Row 3 is Corey Kroll and Joshua Neal. Jelly Kitzman and Andrew Teft make up row 4. Row 5 is Brandon Puffenbarger and John Shane Backler. Truth Hoke and Philip Archibald make up row 6. Row 7,
we're looking at Lucas Shamirs and Jarrett Lardier. Row 8, we're looking at Jeremy Carter and Dennis Kane. Row 9, we're looking at Gordon Spain, Alex Teft. Row 10, Honeycutt and Smith. Row 11, Brooks and Merriman. Row 12, Davis and Thomas.
We'll wrap out the field with Kinsley Smith and Brandon Honeycutt. Looks like, here we go. Dwayne McMahon jumping in his ride. We'll see if Sean Orbeski does or does not. He didn't take a qualifying lap. Might have just tried to get in the field to practice and get some, practice around some other drivers. You see that happen in some of these league races. But Alan Dobbs will get to lead them to the green flag this week.
Drivers stacked up and ready to go, and looks like we will be taking just one short pace lap here. Coming back around, should have the green flag in the air. As mentioned before, excited to see what these drivers can do, especially on such a difficult track, and excited to see how they manage both the track and the drivers around them. I'm sure we're in for a night full of action.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be one of those things, because usually passing at Darlington, you only can pass on a couple areas, and you don't want to try and make a pass in the corner. Usually, you want to try and use the front and back straightaway and make that pass coming into the corner instead of out of it. But we'll see what happens here as this pace car gets ready to make that hard left-hand turn down pit lane. Alan Dobbs with the button as they head to the Geico restart zone here. Waiting. Yeah, waits almost to the end. It looks like Alan Dobbs might have spun the tires just a little bit, as Austin Smith's staying right with him there as they come through turn 1.
Green flag down and away. Dobbs out to a pretty good restart here. Looks like he will have the advantage coming out of turn 2, leading the field. Looks like everybody's trying to get it sorted out. Try to go single file as soon as they can. As mentioned, not advised to go more than 2 wide on these turns, so no surprise to see these drivers want to get it narrowed out as soon as they can.
Yeah, definitely. Even back through the field, they single filed pretty quickly here. Looked like they had some practice at that, as everybody kind of did a little give and take, and going to settle on in and see what they can do. As we even looking back through the field, looks like everybody's pretty much single filed right now.
Plenty of racing to go, and of course drivers understanding you can't get there if the machine is wrecked. So keeping those trucks clean, getting it figured out early on, and of course expect them to make some of those moves heading down the straightaways here as we watch Dobbs and Smith go at it at the front. Looks like right now that 23 machine of Smith is just riding along behind Dobbs, but if he gets an opportunity, make no mistake about it, he'll try to grab it on that straightaway.
Yeah, definitely. Seems like track position is going to be a little bit of key here, as looks like Brixton Barrett just got his Darlington stripes there pretty quickly, as Austin Smith goes down to the inside, comes back up, taps Dobbs there. Like they both got a little bit loose.
Definitely some moves being made early on, and people trying to figure out how their truck's going to handle. Of course, once you get down below that dotted white line there, the banking really starts to drop off very, very quickly. So drivers will have to keep that in mind, be very careful if they try to go down there in the middle of a turn.
Yeah, definitely looks like that. It looked like we had the 14 of Brandon Sanfilippo bouncing off the wall a little bit too, earning that stripe as well. One of those things that you're going to see probably multiple times tonight as they work down through the corners here. When they come up on exit, they just, it's almost like they reach out and grab you.
That wall certainly does feel like it wants to reach out and grab you, and as mentioned, and as we saw riding on board during qualifying, it really comes at you very quickly on that exit of turn 2. You can really have the trucks up to full throttle before you get to the exit of turn 2. So that wall approaches you at quite a high rate of speed, and if you're not on the exact right line coming to the exit of 2, it'll catch you.
Yeah, definitely looking back through the field, as we talked about, passing early or passing, pretty quickly here. Looks like Shelly Kitzman, he was able to make a couple passes up 3 spots right now already, as is Puffenbarger. Looks like they made pretty quick work, as the 14 is back into that wall. bouncing off it a little bit there. But they're able to stay into the wall, which is kind of important when you hit that wall.
That 5 machine right now on the inside of the 14 of San Filippo, making that pass down low before they got fully into the turn, and getting things done again on the straightaways is really where you want to see these passes going. And 1 machine of Kitzman right now to the inside of the 28 of Barrett, working too wide through that turn. Gonna have to check up just a little bit, make sure they have enough room to get onto the straightaway properly. Kitzman gets a bit loose coming out of 4 there. That is common to see for that truck down on the inside line, trying to really make that truck overturn and then having to compensate again coming back onto the straightaway.
Yeah, definitely. You can carry the speed through the corner, but when you come to that straightaway, it is so much harder to stay off of the driver to your outside that you wind up checking up and losing a little bit of ground. So I'm sure Shelley will make another move here after he gets that truck back under him, as he's already closing in again on Barrett there. And looking back through the field to see what's going on. Like we got Dan Filippo, Kroll, and Teft. Just trying to close in there a little bit. Joshua Neal, Truth Hoke.
Drivers finding themselves, for the most part, in groups of 2 or 3, trying to get passes done on the trucks in front of them. But for the most part, seems like this field is very content to try to ride single file through these turns. And as mentioned, really just attribute that to the fact of the momentum that that outside line can gain on you. And then as the inside truck, if you are on that low lane, you have to check up quite a bit to try to prevent your truck from drifting up into that truck on the outside.
Definitely, as you saw, the 42 Toyota of Lucas Slimers, they're getting to that outside wall. Honeycutt goes down to the inside, so he'll lose that spot. Philip Archibald's going to try and get past him there as well. We'll see if Gordon Spain jumps out of line or stays behind him. Looks like right now he's staying behind him.
Certainly taking the time and definitely not wanting to press the issue, trying to send it 3 wide there. So just keeping an eye on these drivers right now. Looks like everybody has quite a bit of patience, just doing what they can to make single passes at a time, get back up in line. Try not to upset the balance too much anybody else on the track.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those tracks where you want to be methodical in your moves. I mean, if you try and make a pass that's at an ill-advised time, you're going to go backwards faster than you're going to go forwards. And we've seen it as these guys have basically worked their way through, what, 12 laps now? I mean, everybody's kind of figured out that high line's where to be. If they carry a little bit of speed, they're going to be able to make a pass, either coming into the corner or just getting off of it. You don't want to make it coming through the corner, as you wind up losing a lot of speed there too.
Drivers starting to get that high line momentum really figured out. Right now, Dobbs still up front here, doing a great job staying out front. Smith about 0.3 of a second back, but closing in these corners. See if he has any surprises up his sleeve. See if he can chase him down here on one of these straightaways. But right now, we have Dobbs, Smith, and Kitzman all within that half second. And then again, as mentioned, groups of 2 or 3, these would be our top 3 right now. Just kind of riding along, still plenty of race to go. Doesn't look like anybody's getting too excited trying to force the issue.
Yeah, definitely not. Guy you probably want to watch is you see Braxton Barrett almost go inside outside, then back to the outside wall again. I was going to say, is the guy you might want to watch is Brandon Puffenbarger. He seems to have an affinity for Darlington. He was really quick last year here. He pretty much drove away from the field. This year he finds himself not qualifying up front, but definitely a guy you're going to want to watch as the race goes on. He seems to have the track pretty well figured out, as you can kind of see where his line leads him through the corners.
Something to be said of the slow and steady methodical approach. And certainly if that 5 machine is planning for the longer run, he has a great line from everything we just watched, and should work out for him. See if it's enough to keep up with these leaders and not get too far behind before pit stops start taking effect.
Yeah, definitely. I was just swap cameras up to see Austin Smith getting passed by Shelly Kitzman. it's been pretty quick in all of the races that we've seen so far. A little bit of bad luck at Daytona, but still was able to run pretty well last week. Got podium finish there. Austin Smith has been running decent. Let's see if we go back through the field. Brandon Sanfilippo, Braxton Barrett's been having a little bit of rough time there on corner exit. We'll see if he can make some adjustments as this race goes on, as Kroll tries to get by him on the inside.
Few drivers in this field struggling a little bit early on, trying to find the right line and right momentum to carry on the exit of corner 2, really finding that wall, and adjustments definitely going to have to be made, especially here at Darlington. You consistently tap that wall, it will lead to problems later on with the damage model, especially causing breaking points, not just from having hard impacts, but consistent impacts to the same area of that truck.
Yeah, definitely. If you, it almost seems, well, it almost seems like you have to, I mean, I know you have to run the corners a little bit different, but some of them you almost want to back that corner up a little bit farther, so when you come off, you don't get that hard impact into the wall that we've seen multiple drivers just do as we were watching there. Ruth Hoke had a pretty big Darlington stripe there.
Multiple lines to be run in turns 1 and 2. One to keep an eye for as these drivers get further and further into the run. They'll enter turn 1 fairly high and then start making their way in the middle of 1 and 2 there towards the bottom of the track, and that on exit that leaves them down towards that white striped line, getting them a little bit lower exit, almost middle of the track coming down that back straightaway. It is a much slower line, but a much safer line to run on older tires.
And you see Honeycutt's, I was going to say almost trying to make it 3 wide there, but just not quite enough speed coming through the corner there. Honeycutt's a guy that if he has the speed, he will try and take advantage of it as quick as he can. Seen him force it 3 wide last week at Charlotte. Talking to him, he kind of made a joke about it, saying, you know, at least it gives you guys something to talk about. But for some reason, he's always able to make it work pretty well, as he's going to make the pass here on Hoke, it looked like.
Certainly getting a little bit of advantage, a little bit of momentum. Looks like Hoke decided to maybe back out of it a little bit there heading into the turn. Just kind of give up the spot, knowing that there's still plenty of race left to run, and there's plenty of opportunity on down the track.
Yeah, definitely. Honeycutt is on the move, though. He's up 9 spots. While we're talking about guys who are on the move, go back here to this 18 Toyota of Sean Merriman here. He's up 8 spots as well, looking pretty good. Didn't have a qualifying effort. Started, you know, back of the field-ish. So definitely has a fast 18 Toyota now that he's in race trim here.
Getting things figured out, and of course, after taking a couple laps with those other trucks around you, you see what's going to work, especially in traffic. If you didn't qualify at the front of the field, you're going to have to deal with dirty air basically the whole night. So certainly seems like he's gotten things figured out and certainly moved up quite a few spots from our start here.
Yeah, definitely. As we're watching a 3-way battle here, Honeycutt, Joshua Neal into that outside wall, bounces down, and allows Teft and Honeycutt to get by. But Joshua Neal's still going backwards after making hard contact into that outside wall. Like he ran the 9 of Kane Backler up into the wall.
Definitely a tough position to be in on the exit of 2. Once you clip that wall, you lose so much speed. A lot of that momentum lost then going down the straightaway. You're just trying to stop the bleeding from those trucks behind you. So certainly understand the feeling there, but got to keep it as clean as you can heading into 3 and 4, as that's a much tighter turn.
Yeah, definitely want to do that. Simers into that outside wall as well, right in front of Sean Merriman. Merriman up 9 spots now. Guys are still battling pretty good, and it looks like oh, I thought that was roll back there, but it was not. Like somebody else has basically the same color scheme. David Davis is who that was. Lap down, making some laps around here as he stays down out of the way, trying to let everybody race while he gets some experience on the track here.
Trying to get everything adjusted. Of course, you saw the outside of that truck having that Darlington stripe, so certainly finding some trouble with the wall early. Hopefully it doesn't hurt him too much. These other drivers here really starting to get into a little bit of a heated battle. As mentioned, we were seeing groups of 2 and 3, but as we take a look on some of these camera angles back down the track, you can see almost 6-7 trucks coming into about the same area of the track. Things really about to start heating up here as we're coming on to lap 30.
See who just got shot down the track there. Looks like Dane Backler's not having a good time after catching that outside wall. Oak kind of slid around there a little bit. Could be getting close to seeing that first pit stop any time now from what they usually run here. Looks like we have Thomas in the YouTube chat. Looks like he's race control tonight.
Drivers certainly want that pit stop to come soon. It looks like a lot of these drivers are starting to take that line in turns 1 and 2, not trusting how loose their truck is on exit, being close to that wall. So something we'll have to keep an eye on as we see the back end really stepping out on some of these trucks.
Yeah, definitely. You can see just how close they're getting to that wall. And, you know, it's inches before you're, making contact there. See if we can. It looks like Braxton Barrett and Joshua Neal are kind of going here. Like Braxton lost a little bit there in the corner. See, oh, looks like Kroll's headed down pit lane. First one to blink.
Grab some service, maybe get a little bit of damage repair, get some fresh tires on that truck. And of course, here at Darlington, that fresh rubber can make a whole lot of difference. We'll see if that pit stop strategy pays out and gives him a little bit quicker time, as it doesn't look like anybody else is going to flinch quite yet. But as mentioned, these drivers on older tires really got to be wanting that stop here soon, just waiting for a couple of trucks to really make that move and start making it more feasible.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta pretty much plan on the race going green the whole time, so you get your pit stops there. And it looks like they're guys that are staying out are going to be trying to get closer to that only like 3 pit stop strategy here. They only need to make it to 38, 39, and they'll hit that little window. As we're almost 3 wide into the wall goes Teft. Off of look like the 14 of Brandon Sanfilippo. Caution is out.
Trucks around in turns 1 and 2. That will give these drivers that opportunity that they were searching for to come down pit road, get that service done. Drivers looking at 3 wide, and it looks like a little bit of net code might have been to play as that 98 machine went around on the nose of the 14. 72 just catching the back end of the 98 as it came around there. So things we'll have to keep an eye on. These drivers, of course, hoping to get some new tires on their truck and get to service, but definitely a hard hit for that 98 team into that outside wall nose on.
Yeah, definitely. And Corey Kroll here, he looks like he's sitting pretty good here because he just came down and made his pit stop, so he'll he should get the lucky dog as he's the first car a lap down, I do believe. I believe everybody should come down pit lane.
Haven't seen anybody yet that didn't. I will just have to go back and double check the timing and scoring, but I believe that he will get his lap back here.
Looks like everybody's coming down here.
Remainder of the drivers in, so everybody will be getting their pit service done within the next lap here 100%, and we'll get these trucks back out on the track, stacked back up. Looks like Dobbs will maintain that race lead for the moment. Kitzman in second, the 5 machine of Puffenberger in third. So drivers really getting a good feel for the track here. Had a pretty good long green flag run. We'll have a pretty good understanding that for a pit cycle around that 36 to 38 lap mark is probably about as far as you want to run, especially with the tires feeling like they were. Saw a lot of drivers getting into that outside wall there coming out of 2.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be an important thing. And some of these drivers are glad that it's the caution came out, because there's nothing worse than you make a green flag pit stop, get that fresh rubber, and you go to get on the throttle and you're just a little too fast and wind up spinning it around and, bringing out the caution. So we'll see what happens here, as it looks like Austin Smith and Kroll should get... I think they'll probably just get the wave around. Thought Kroll was going to get the lucky dog, but it looks like he did not. But they'll get the wave around. We'll get stacked back up with Dobbs and Kitzman on the front row. Puffenbarger and Neal in row 2.
Lights out on that pace car. These trucks ready to go. And so far, it looks like everybody was pretty happy to stay single file. We'll have to see if anything changes here now with the fresh rubber on the trucks. A little bit better feeling for the racetrack. And of course, with that sun down, this track cooling off a little bit more under caution laps. See if that gives these trucks a little bit of extra grip, gives them a little bit of extra sanity to go too wide through some of these turns and see if they can get it done.
Yeah, definitely. You want to stay above that white dotted line coming through the corners as the pace car pulls off. Dobbs with the button. Got Puffenbarger right on his rear bumper there. Headed to the Geico restart zone. And he is down and away. Green flag out as he's able to slide up in front of Kitzman. Puffenbarger slides in. Looks like they're shuffling in like a deck of cards almost.
Gets it done. Everybody trying to get it sorted out as they make their way into 1 and 2. And Dobbs off to a pretty darn good start there. Had a 0.3 second advantage over Kitzman even on the exit of 2. See a couple of trucks getting that outside wall, getting loose, coming down that back straightaway. See if they can get it back going here.
Looks like we're staying green right now.
Off the racing surface, so the green flag will stay out. Right now, Dobbs and Kitzman leading the way. Kitzman closing in, trying to get something done, try to get a lap led here away from that 22 machine. See what they can do as they head to 3 and 4 now.
Now, Kitzman wants to try and get this pass made early. He saw what Dobbs was able to do as the run went on, but if Kitzman can hang with him for these first few laps, I think they're gonna be a tough battle there as the run wears on here working lap 40 now.
Of course, the advantage clean air for that 22 machine. That one machine of Kitsman knows how critical that can be. As you mentioned, saw what that 22 of Dobbs was able to do with that long green flag run, was able to basically fend off anybody that got close. So right now, Kitsman just trying to stay in close enough proximity, hopefully waiting for a mistake out of that 22 machine. Take advantage of that if he can.
And definitely we're back to the basically 3 and 2 pack racers here. Sean Merriman up 16 spots right now, running P6 in that 18 machine. Man, I haven't said too much about tonight. Dennis Kane running in 7th, up 9 spots. Go back here. Looks like Truth Hoke and Alex Teft are kind of battling it out there. Kane Backler is just up in front. I think that's the 42 getting stuck up high.
Drivers getting it done, and certainly looks like they're not quite as adverse to going too wide through these turns this time around. Definitely have a little bit more experience of how that truck's going to handle now. So especially here at the back of the field where you have some drivers that were a little bit quicker, maybe got trapped that lap down early from taking some pit service or having some issues early on. These drivers now trying to make their way through some of these slower trucks and get their way back up towards the front.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing you have to watch out for as Simers gets into that outside wall. Honeycutt gets a little tap there, and they're able to stay the right direction, but Honeycutt definitely took the worst of that damage there.
Able to get those trucks sorted, and it looked like it was really to the advantage of both drivers that they got into each other. Were able to help keep those trucks straight, but definitely some damage on those trucks, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, see if it affects the handling or anything. But drivers really doing a pretty good job here throughout the field, racing too wide through those turns. Haven't seen a whole lot of incidents come from it so far.
No, definitely not. They seem to have spent the first 40 laps trying to figure out what they wanted to do, and now they kind of know what their trucks can do. They got that fresh rubber, and they're trying to get back towards the front. As Alex Teft gets loose, comes down the track. Like he's going to stay down there. And that's the other thing here. When you start to lose ground, you just kind of, it's hard to get back up into that racing groove because everybody who's in it is so much faster.
Once you have lost that momentum, it seems like that truck behind you is coming at Mach speed at your bumper. So I certainly feel the hesitancy of these drivers once they are out of that groove to just kind of want to stay down at the bottom of that track. But once these trucks get a little bit spread out here, it does become so hard to work your way back up into that racing groove at speed and kind of rejoin the line, if you will, maintain that momentum and try not to fall back any more spots.
Yeah, definitely looking back through the field. Looks like Alex Teft has got that truck back rolling here in the right direction. He's able to get by Lucas Simers here. And Kroll's looking to try and get by. Like he's trying to go inside outside, but just can't find a spot right there for now. Troy Thomas is watching this battle in front of him between Austin Smith, Brandon Sanfilippo, and Truth Hoke. All three drivers trying to get back towards the front. Austin Smith found himself down a couple positions here as he pitted on lap 32 about 2 laps before our caution came out, so kind of put him in a bad spot back there.
Track position so far seems like it is reigning supreme, as really there hasn't been a huge shakeup in position since going back green. Dobbs continues to lead this field, about 0.3 of a second advantage over Kitzman. And then Puffenberger there in third, still maintaining a decent gap up to Kitzman. But really, as mentioned, these 2 and 3 truck kind of groupings and breakaways, that leaves you about 2 seconds back to the 28 machine of Barrett there in fourth, who has a little bit of an advantage over the next grouping of Merriman, Neal, and Kane behind him. So drivers really trying to get that momentum back, but once you lose it, maintaining that track position becomes critical because these trucks just don't seem to be able to catch up even with a little bit of draft help.
Yeah, definitely. And once these guys start getting spread out, I mean, when you're talking half a second or a second between each truck, it's just basically a merry-go-round race here. But we'll see if anybody can try and cut into some of these margins here, just looking back through the field. I think the closest battle on track is back here between Sanfilippo and Hoke. Maybe Larder. Looks like Larder might be getting under pressure here from the 9 of Shane Backler. But I think with that being said and everybody running pretty well here, we're going to step aside for our first commercial break. You won't miss anything as we go side by side on Sim Racing Media. We'll be back after this. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Racers Elite Truck Series as these guys make their way through lap 58 here. We'll jump up front and kind of do a little bit of a rundown here. Alan Dobbs has led basically every lap this race. Shelly Kitzman in second. We got Puffenbarger in third. Braxton Barrett fourth, biggest mover of the race, up 17 spots. Inside the top 5 is Sean Merriman.
Making some moves and using some strategy to get up here, and not too far behind him, we're looking at the 82 machine of Neil, closely followed by the 4 machine of Kane there. Starting to see a little bit of lap traffic getting mixed in with some of our lead cars. So start to see some of these guys maybe dive down out of the way. If they are a lap car, don't be surprised if you see a truck kind of make a harder turn than you usually would heading into 1 and 2 or coming onto one of those straightaways, try to get out of that racing groove. But right now, these drivers doing a great job keeping things together and keeping that momentum going in these little groups of 2s and 3s that we're seeing. Really just comes down to how far do you want to push your truck on this second run, and can you really stretch that tank out and make sure you are clear to the end? Right now, we're seeing some of these drivers start to back the pace off a little bit because of tire wear. Have to think that some of these drivers are also backing that pace down, trying to save some fuel, make it to the end here on that next stop.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're talking, 38 laps or so. Ooh. Looks like Austin fell asleep at the wheel there as he bounced off that outside wall. Honeycutt down to his inside, going to try and take advantage of the mistake there by, and Smith into the wall again. That is very uncharacteristic of that 23 machine.
Drivers starting to feel the consequences of tapping that wall perhaps one too many times. Could be an issue either aerodynamically with the handling of that car, or just a piece starting to get out of alignment or even broken. So something we'll have to keep an eye on, and certainly check these drivers and make sure that they are doing okay. Right now, that 22 machine of Dobbs feeling quite content out front, though, and really maintaining that dominant lead over everyone else. As we see a couple drivers down pit road for some service here, have to think that is some damage repair they're trying to get done. And maybe these tanks can stretch a little farther than we expect, as we're still just 10 laps or so, I would say, outside of the window we expected these drivers to be able to make it.
Yeah, because nobody was really, there was a few drivers coming down early. If you're coming down, now, the drivers that did come down pitted on lap 30 and 32. So they're trying to, I want to say they pit now, and they're probably going to pit on lap 90, try and see if the fresh tires, if we stay green, if the fresh tires are going to be what will get them to the front. But I don't know how you can beat another pit stop.
Seeing some differences in strategies and seeing if it pays off. Right now, it looks like those drivers who elected to come down pit road lost about a lap. So we'll see if they can make that back up in the time they get on these fresh tires. Right now, our leader Dobbs certainly doesn't look like he's going to slow down the pace any to try to help him out, at least any more than he has to, working with those older tires right now, about 30 laps on those.
Yeah, so we'll see Kitzman into that outside wall. Like Kitzman might be coming down. Yeah, got into that outside wall, going to come down, make his pit stop here. So it's definitely going to be close. You're going to want to try and get as close as you can to that 70 lap mark, I'd say. If not, you're definitely going to have to come in at least for a splash and go.
Be comfortable and completely honest, as a driver, if I could push it, if I was to make one more stop, I would go for lap 75. But certainly seeing how these trucks handled on those longer tire runs, I can't fault any of these drivers for coming down, trying to get those fresh tires on, seeing if it can make a difference. And certainly I'm of the opinion, if you follow the leader the whole night, especially in pit strategy, you're not going to make up extra time. So get off the pit strategy, see if it pays out for them, and certainly hope that it pays off and gets you enough of an advantage on track with those fresh tires on.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to just follow Dobbs around. We've already seen that once he's out front, he's pretty much bulletproof for the moment. And you don't. If you're following him around, he's going to have to make a mistake in order for you to take advantage. And the way he's running right now, it's going to be rough. But we'll see if he's going to try and push it on this run, or if he's going to be content on, you know, a couple laps short is what it looks like here. But like you said, 75 would be comfortable. And of course, if you get another caution, you know, basically throw it all out the window.
Right, and just about anywhere from here to the end, within the next lap or two, I would expect drivers to be able to push it, maybe save a little bit of fuel if they had to, be able to make it to the end. So wouldn't be surprised to see a couple more of these trucks start making their way or start eyeing up pit road at the very least. Dobbs, of course, out to a 5-second advantage over the second place position of 5 of Puffenberger there in second. So looks like he's starting to slow down a little bit off the pace, maybe thinking about coming to pit road, and maybe having some issues with that truck as well.
Yeah, let's see what Puffenberger's doing here. It looks like he's just rolling pretty easy, pretty steady.
Certainly no need to push. Big gap out in front of you, big gap out behind you. Just try to maintain that and get to that comfortable lap where you feel like you can certainly make it to the end and give a little bit of extra fuel if you need it. So no surprise to see this driver just kind of making his way around the track and letting some of these cars on fresh tires go around him. Let them go. Don't try to force the issue too much.
Yeah, definitely don't want to do that. Alan Dobbs coming in right now. Lap 71. Puffenberger staying out, so he will get credit for leading a lap.
Cards on the table. Leader for the majority of this race now in, getting his pit service done. Have to think that it's going to be the money stop for him. So 5 machine probably not going to stay out too much longer here, but might push a couple of laps again. As mentioned, I really believe that that 75 lap mark is going to be about the time we'll see everybody else coming in.
Yeah, it looks like we have a few drivers. Got a couple that, well, lap 60, it looks like. 62. 61 for Smith and Kroll and Joshua Neal there. Midwest Motorsports, so definitely staying with that team strategy. Looks like Puffenberger's coming down right now.
Of note, if things stay as they run right now, Kitzman has the advantage over Dobbs, so that pit strategy pitting a little bit earlier paying off for Kitzman. Have to keep an eye on that as we cycle back around here, see if it pays off and see if he has enough of an advantage to keep Dobbs at bay for the rest of this race.
Definitely Honeycutt was doing donuts at the entry of pit road there. So Honeycutt definitely did not have the pit entry that he wanted. Like Kitzman is going to cycle to the front. So those 4 fresh tires have definitely done a number here, as Kitzman was about 3 to 4 seconds behind Dobbs. Now, after he made the pit stop, he is now almost 5 seconds in front of Dobbs at the moment.
Difference in pit strategy, 6 laps. So the advantage of Dobbs right now is he is on newer tires, 6 laps newer. And of course, Kitzman dealing with some lap traffic right now, trying to kind of work his way through. And then Dobbs, it will be to his advantage if these drivers can slow him up enough. And of course, having that tire advantage might be able to make up some time here, especially come the end of the race when those tires are really starting to wear out. Dobbs might have just enough left in him to come back up and steal this out from under Kitzman. Kitzman just trying to keep a good pace right now, maintain that gap, knowing that all he has to do, keep those tires fresh enough, long enough to get to the end.
Yeah, definitely. He just has to, you know, kind of maintain that steady pace, not burn up the tires. His gap's grown already. Let's go back and see what Dobbs is dealing with. Dobbs had a couple lap trucks to deal with. He has got around them and is now looking to close the gap on Kitzman. We got about 10 trucks left on the lead lap at the moment here.
Drivers certainly know where they stand now, and as expected, I would say that we have seen the money stop for this race, barring any cautions. Drivers now working to just get any remaining positions they can. Of course, Kitzman keeping an eye on that rear view mirror and keeping an eye on that relative back to Dobbs, seeing if there is anything he can do to keep stretching out that lead. And of course, everybody chasing that number one machine right now, that would be Dobbs and Barrett, especially keeping an eye on those relatives, trying to see if there's anything they can do, make faster lap times and start catching up, closing this gap down before it gets too late in this run.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. We'll see how this fuel strategy is going to work too, because you kind of gotta be thinking that Puffenbarger probably ran basically till his tank was empty, and he came down on lap 73 after pitting on lap 34. So that's 39 laps. So it's going to be pretty close as far as fuel strategy for Puffenbarger and probably Alan Dobbs. But some of these guys pitted on lap 65, 61. So we'll see if they're able to, save enough fuel to make it to the end here.
It's been, of course, one of those trucks. He pitted on lap 65, so certainly something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. Doesn't seem like he's really aggressively pushing pace at this point, and if anything, looks like he's trying to line up with the trucks in front of him and try to save a little bit of fuel. So we'll keep an eye on that and make sure that he has enough to make it to the end. But right now, Dobbs certainly doing what he can to try to chase him down. Looks like he's having some issues fighting some of that lap traffic.
Yeah, Dobbs he got around the lap traffic, but it doesn't seem like he is moving forward quite as fast as he was when he had that fresh air. I mean, a little bit of dirty air in front of him from, looks like the 3 machine of Gordon Spain there, and we're under caution. Let's see what happened here to bring out this caution flag. Puffenbarger. Oh, Puffenbarger into the wall. Here's Hoke gets through. Looks like the 18 might have got hit there as well. Yeah, Merriman got hit there as well. See if we can take a look here.
Keeping an eye on this 18 machine as we watch the incident happen up in front of him. Tries to go low here, expects that damage to stay up at the top of the track, just gets collected by the 42 and sent into the inside wall. Doesn't look like it was a ton of damage to that 18 machine, but we'll have to keep an eye on it, see if it affects the handling of that truck at all.
Another view from Honeycutt here. Looks like a little bit of net code there almost. We saw it earlier in the race too. You get side by side and then all of a sudden it's like the truck gets sucked up into the wall or into the other truck there. So looks like
we will keep an eye on.
Everybody's coming down.
Pit strategies be darned. Everybody coming down now, making sure they are good, probably putting a fresh set of tires on those trucks as well. Have to keep an eye on it. Did the 28 machine come down? Right now he is being scored as our leader. He did not. Last in on lap 65, maybe trying to save a little extra fuel by staying out here, but if that is a fresh tire advantage behind him, he'll have to be careful on this restart.
It looks like he was just trying to get a little track position, I guess, maybe, or see his name in lights for a minute as he comes down pit lane almost into the barrels.
Perhaps with scoring, I'd have to double check. They might have a bonus point for a lap led. So get your name up there, get that lap led, get that bonus point. Could be critical later on in the season. So no surprise to see that kind of strategy playing out if they do have those bonuses. And that'll leave Kitzman to inherit the lead again as Barrett goes in for his service, gets those tires on. Shouldn't hurt him too much. Looks like about 14 to 15 cars here on the lead lap.
I don't think it'll be too bad at the moment. But he's trying to cycle through here. We'll see. Like everybody in front of Kitzman there is going to try and take the wave around and get back on the lead lap. Like most of those drivers pitted 73 to 83.
Well, as mentioned, strategy now gone. Kitzman has to find a way to control this restart, get enough of a jump out in front of Dobbs, who has led a majority of this race. Possibly put Dobbs just in that dirty air. We did see him struggle with that here in this run. See if Dobbs has anything for that number one machine of Kitzman, but they will start side by side on the front row. So it really will come down to who has the better restart here and who can get it done as we're starting to stack back up, get ready to go back green flag racing.
Yeah, definitely. And don't look now, but Austin Smith is back up inside of row 2 there. It looks like Puffenbarger also is able to get up here and going to be an outside of row 3. So some heavy hitters here left as we are getting, what, 24, so 23 to go when we go back to green flag racing here.
It will be a relatively short run compared to what we have seen so far tonight. But right now, that one machine of Kitzman has the advantage, has the button, so to speak, for this restart as they make their way to that restart zone. Pace car down and away here. So we'll see if he has any surprises up his sleeve for that 22 machine of Dobbs. They are in the zone. One machine out to a great jump here. Gets the advantage over Dobbs, slides up right away, heading into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely did what he needed to do to get that advantage. We'll see if he can maintain it and start to pull away a little bit. We've seen how fresh air just is immensely important here while you're racing around Darlington.
Of course, that 28 machine of Barrett, as we mentioned, taking that later stop didn't seem to hurt him too much. He is now in the 8th place position, trying to work his way back up towards the front here. Fighting right now with the 15 machine of Smith. 5 of Puffenbarger, two cars in front of him there, and Crowell right behind. So these drivers will get it sorted out, see what they can do, as we're now about 20 laps to the end of this thing, 22 to go.
Dobbs back to the front as he gets by Shelly Kitzman. Dobbs has had a great truck basically on the little restarts there that he's been able to get away, but if they can stay close, I think both Kitzman and Smith have a little bit better truck towards the end of the run because they start to close in, but Dobbs early just seems to be able to pull away and get that huge margin.
Just have to try to maintain the gap here, especially knowing that it's a shorter run. If you were ever saving tires in those other runs, now is the time to really push it. You have that shorter run to the end here. Now looking at 21 to go. Kitzman keeping close to the bumper of that 22 machine. I think he knows that if he has any chance here, he just has to stay close, hope that that 22 machine makes a mistake and fill his mirror, force him to make that mistake.
Yeah, Kitzman down to the inside. Gonna try and slide up in front on exit here. Stays right beside him, neck and neck as they head down the front stretch. Kitzman and Dobbs side by side.
Advantage 3 and 4 goes to Dobbs. Kitzman not quite able to get it done. Does manage to find a little bit of reprieve. He was able to slide up there for a moment between Smith and Dobbs, but Smith now to his outside on that quarter panel. Looks like he will have enough momentum to slide back into second place, but certainly has to keep an eye on that 23 machine of Smith, who is now close enough to make things very dangerous in a three-way battle for our lead.
Yeah, Kitzman's lucky that Smith was able to check up just a little bit as he went sliding up the track after trying to cut the corner just a little bit and do a little bit of a slide job there on Smith. But Dobbs is still out in front, has about just a little over a tenth of a second lead here. If Smith and Kitzman can kind of get drawn in a little bit, we'll see if Kitzman's going to take advantage again and try and pull down to the inside and make that pass.
Course, looking at the group right behind our leaders here, just had a pass for that fourth place position. That's the 5 of Puffenberger, getting a little bit of an advantage. Merriman was sitting as high up as fourth place, must have had a slight misstep as the 82 of Neal now gets around him, and it looks like the 15 machine of Smith will also take advantage of that mistake, get back up into those spots. And right now, our top 10, very volatile, knowing how close we are to the end of this race, trying to find those positions, get as much as you can. It'll make a huge difference later on, late in this season in the point standings.
Yeah, definitely. And as we start to catch some left traffic, as I said, it looks like a hard left-hand turn there for Truth Hope as he got down and out of the way. We are under caution. Looks like Roll decided to take a spin here. Let's see what happened. Oh, got the Darlington stripe, slid down in front. Luckily didn't catch anybody that time. And the 88.
Into the wall, just trying to keep that control, keep that truck down low there in 3 and 4. Wasn't able to keep it down, and unfortunately collected just another truck or two there in that incident. So have to get that fixed back up and get it back out on track. See what they can do as we head towards the end of this thing. We'll be looking somewhere around 14 to go.
Oh. Well, maybe you can answer this, David, because I don't race enough. It looked like Dobbs went down under the commitment cone, but then didn't go down pit lane. Is pit lane?
Is
there another
line.
cone?
So the cone is there kind of as a divider here at Darlington, and I'll have to see coming around this time. I believe that line is darn near where that concrete wall is. So you can kind of fake people out here at Darlington, as that is almost a false commitment cone at that far end of pit road. But I'll have to keep an eye on it as we come around here. There is a little bit of games to be played, but I was fairly certain that they had fixed that in one of these more recent updates and that the cone was the line. So we'll keep an eye on it, see if he has to pay any penalties. But right now, it certainly looks like he is playing the game to full advantage, trying to get those cars behind him to go down pit road, maybe thinking that those trucks behind him do have something left in the tank to beat him on one of these restarts.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it here. Oh, no, there is a white line down there.
There is a line just before that concrete wall there. That would be the commitment line that these drivers have to meet. So taking full advantage of that cone not being at that commitment line, trying to fake some drivers out.
So it is going to be a short run here, and Dobbs will have the button on when to go here.
Still under some pace laps here. We'll be a little closer to the 10 to go mark. Expect the lights to go off this next time by. That would put us at 12 to go when we get back green flag racing, if they go off this time by.
Corey checking in on the YouTube chat with the well shoot. Yeah, it looks like he got just a little bit loose, came down the track, and then tried to hold it. and wound up sliding back up the track into like that was Troy Thomas and Alex Teft. Lights should go out this time, and we'll be getting ready to go back to green flag racing here.
Drivers looking like they are ready to go back green flag racing, looking like the front set of drivers starting to stack back up, and Dobbs actually taking the outside line here on this restart, switching things up a little bit from what we've seen. Leader been traditionally on that inside line, but Leader does have their lane choice, so Kitzman will be stuck on that inside line. Perhaps Dobbs trying to get a better view of that restart zone, maybe even get a little bit of a better jump so that he can get out to the front and get that advantage again.
Yeah, I mean, everybody who's had that restart was on that inside lane, but within a couple car lengths of the start-finish line, they're up in the outside lane. So Dobbs is thinking, maybe I should just start up here, and then I don't have to worry about sliding up in front of anybody.
Certainly looks like that might be what he is going for. Of course, that one machine of Kitzman hanging back just a little bit at the moment. Have to see him tighten that up and try to get in ahead of Dobbs, see when he's going to go here. But pace car getting ready to make that hard left-hand turn, and we're about to be back green flag racing. Dobbs on the outside line has the advantage, has the button in his hand. Does he have enough to beat that one machine of Kitzman, or will we be upset by perhaps the 5 of Puffenberger or the 23 of Smith in row 2? Back to that restart zone, green flag in the air. The 22 of Dobbs has a great jump here, gets out to about 0.2 of a second advantage over Kitzman. Kitzman trying to find his way up into that outside line, stays low, gives Smith a little bit of help trying to pull him through. Right now, Puffenberger and Smith fighting for that third place position. Of course, Dobbs and Kitzman just trying to stay close to each other. Kitzman trying to get any advantage he can, try to make this pass heading down the front straightaway after turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, definitely wants to stay as close as he can as they work together to try and kind of break away from 3 and 4 here and just leave the race up to themselves. But everybody's single filed out and they're starting to work together here. Puffenberger and Austin Smith have worked together in the previous season. Smith being the defending champion and Puffenberger won here last year. So definitely a couple guys to look forward to as Joshua Neal creams that outside wall, is able to save it as they come down. That wide backstretch there is able to get back in, but somebody else went off here. Let's see what happened. Maybe. We see Neal and Merriman. Not sure.
Both of those drivers look like they had it fully saved. I would think perhaps on the exit of 2, one of these other drivers perhaps had a misstep, maybe caught another driver or 2 up in their accident and caused the caution flag to come out. But it looks like all these trucks are straight and true from what I can see.
Yeah, I can't see anything other than maybe when they came back on the track, they slowed a little bit. And, oh, there we go.
There it is.
Spain and Larder. Here, we'll take a look here. Basically, almost like a replay. Oh, the 45 checked up. The 8 was there. The 3 had to check up a little bit. And as the 3 looks like slides up the racetrack on exit, gets into the 2. They kind of pinball back and forth, and then the 2 hits the 3 in that right rear quarter panel, and they both go into that wall.
A little bit of a checkup in front of you, causing some accidents behind you. So something else that these drivers will have to keep an eye on. We should be back green flag racing with about 6 to go. Might be 7 to go when we get that green flag again.
So we'll step aside for a moment. Go side by side. We'll be back before they go green, though. All right, welcome back. They're getting ready to go green as they come down the backstretch, getting all stacked up, ready to go. We'll have 6 laps to go here from Darlington to crown the race winner of race number 3 here in the Racers Elite Truck Series.
Drivers stacked back up. Dobbs to the inside, Kitzman to the outside this time. Seeing if it will make a difference. Dobbs seemed like he had the advantage regardless of which lane he started in. So right now that number 1 machine of Kitzman just trying to figure out when that 22 is going to take off. See if he can get the advantage and at least slot himself back into second place easily. 23 of Smith, the 82 of Neal in row 2, trying to do what they can to get back up there. See if they can put their name in this ring. 22 of Dobbs out and away to a great restart yet again up into that top line, dropping back down low behind him. That 1 machine of Kitzman able to get the line that he wanted heading into 1 and 2. Everybody getting sorted back out, and of course Kitzman maintaining that very, very close gap to that bumper of the 22 of Dobbs, trying to get it done here on the back straightaway. They dive into 3 and 4. See if that 1 can do anything up underneath. Dobbs should have the advantage on that outside line if he can carry his momentum through this turn as they head down the front straightaway. They're still side by side.
Side by side as they come down the straightaway. Kitzman all over the back bumper trying to see if he can rattle the cage of Dobbs, because he has got to do something in order to make this pass. Loses a little bit of ground, and Smith is not really there to help get that push back to the back bumper. So Dobbs out to about a quarter of a second lead here.
Dobbs the advantage right now. Kitzman seeing if there's anything he can do. Smith not really able to support Kitzman at the moment. See a couple of cars there in the background catching the wall coming out of 3 and 4. Green flag, it does stay in the air. We are 4 to go. Kitzman able to get back up to that bumper. See if he has any momentum left here. Doesn't try to drive down on this back straightaway. He's going to try to drive through 3 and 4 here. Try to go low again. See if he can get that momentum done by the end of the turn. If he can slot back up in front of that 22 of Kitzman, he'll be able to cut off that run as as Dobbs comes off the corner. Kitzman not quite able to get it done. Side by side again as we head down towards turns 1 and 2.
Side by side, trying to stay as close as he can to that 22. Take all the air, all the momentum off the 22 as they slide up, bounce off of each other. Kitzman almost sideways. Smith trying to take advantage here as well.
Smith very close, was able to catch back up there as the leaders were battling. So Smith now in this thing, 3-way battle for the lead essentially. If he can help Kitzman get around Dobbs, it will really be a race of momentum. Who can get this thing done? Popsicle sticks in the air. We are 2 to go.
Yeah, 2 to go. Fastest man on the track was Austin Smith the last lap, but he now has got to figure out a way to get around these guys as he bounces off the outside wall, goes down, and now it is a 2-car race between Dobbs and Kitzman. Kitzman's been able to catch Dobbs, but just has not been able to get the momentum to get this pass done. We'll see if Kitzman has anything left as we come to the white flag in the air. This race will be official next time by.
Kitzman was able to find a little bit of an advantage on these last couple of laps, has managed to close back into just about 1/10 of a second gap. Can he get anything done here? We're heading down the back straightaway, turn 3 and 4. All that remains, that 22 of Dobbs knows what he has to do to maintain that lead. Can he get it done here? Blocking that 1 of Kitzman. Kitzman following as closely as he can behind, seeing if he can get anything done. Exit of 3 and 4. He's going to dive to the inside. No, he's going to stay right behind. 22 of Dobbs gets this win. Kitzman close behind, 1/10 of a second gap. Smith coming home in 3rd. Merriman in 4th. Crowell in 5th. What a great race we have seen. These guys ran a great show tonight, and really it was exciting all the way to the end.
Definitely. These guys definitely knew how to put on a show here. Alan Dobbs goes back-to-back in the truck series. Shelly Kitzman just couldn't quite get it done. Was able to get side by side, but kind of have to give it to Shelly there because I think it would have been a little easier just to slightly turn just a little right. You know, is that
could have easily been one of those moments, but drivers kept it clean, made a great race for the end, and it was a drag race to the end there, just trying to get these trucks to do everything they could. Dobbs getting it done, coming home in 1st.
Definitely. Let's see. Let Dobbs burn it down here. Let's see if we Austin up here in the booth. We're Hey, Austin, Mike up in the booth, man. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, Mike. How are you guys?
Oh, not too bad. Heck of a race there for you.
Yeah, thanks. It was kind of a sloppy race, I'd say. Kind of got screwed on that first caution. Having pit right before that came out, it put me in the thick of it and was just trying to fight through some of those slower cars. But I'll take it. Top 3, got 2 cars in Midwest Motorsports in the top 5, so can't complain.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to ask, I mean, it seemed like you were pretty set on a pit strategy there, kind of, make your, 3 or 4 pit stops and have them spread out where you guys had the fresher tires for a longer period of time. Was that kind of always the strategy going in?
Yeah, strategy was to go pit at 30, 60, and 90, and then only have to pit 3 times. But with the cautions, it kind of screwed us up a little bit on our pit strategy. But shout out to Alan, man. He is quick, and somebody's gonna have to knock him down pretty soon here.
Definitely, man. Well, anybody want to thank before we get you out of here tonight?
Yeah, thank you guys for broadcast. Race was elite for the league. This race was so much better than last week, and it was a lot of fun. Shout out to Midwest Motorsports. Hopefully we can go out next week and get a good team finish again.
Definitely, man. Well, congrats again.
Thanks.
All right, let's see if we can get Shelly down here for you, David. There you go.
Kelly, David, and Mike up in the booth. You got me.
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, you put on a great show tonight. Unfortunately, wasn't quite enough to get it done, but still coming home in second place. Tell me what it was like on those last couple of restarts, knowing that Alan just had the truck to beat. Was there any strategy you were trying to play there, trying to get out in front of him?
Yeah, I think I was slightly quicker than him on the short run, but just not enough to be able to pass him there. And then I don't know if it was 3 restarts from the end, but I just got loose and lost track position, and I knew that was probably going to be my best bet, and I ruined it, but it is what it is.
Momentum certainly a key factor here at Darlington, but looking at the schedule, next week you're heading towards Eldora. Tell me, what are your thoughts heading into a dirt race next week? Can you get something done there perhaps and get a win next week?
Yeah, I love racing on dirt, on iRacing, especially heavier cars, late models and modifieds, but I've never ran a truck there or practice at all, so we'll just kind of have to see and see where it ends up.
We'll certainly keep an eye on it. Love to give you this opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout outs before we let you go celebrate with your team.
Yeah, I just want to thank the Tefts for setting everything up, and this weekend was much better than last, so the continued things they do to make this better, and then you guys for letting people watch.
All right, well, congrats again on that second place finish. We'll send you back to celebrate with your team.
Thank you. Go Hawks.
All right. Alan, Mike up in the booth, man. How's it going?
What's up, guys?
So you basically had the fastest truck all night. We knew that was kind of knew that going in after a couple practice sessions this week. But how were you able to get it done here at Darlington?
It's hard. You have to. Darlington's a tough track, and I definitely had quite a fight on my hands quite a few times. I was definitely pretty fast, but there was 2 or 3 other guys that were right there with me. I feel like the track just being kind of top dominant and hard to pass on the bottom is pretty much the only reason that I ended up with a win. Shelly, I believe, was a little bit faster than me there at the end. I had used my tires a little too much in that first long run we had before the caution started. But we just stayed consistent, tried to stay off the wall. I don't think I got a Darlington stripe, so it's kind of sad, it's almost like you didn't come to Darlington, but yeah, I'll take it. It was a great race. All the guys did a great job. Last week was a caution fest, but yeah, this was a really good race.
Definitely. Well, after going back to back, how are you feeling as you head to Eldora next week?
I'm not the biggest fan of Eldora. I find that I end up just getting slammed into the wall a bunch. So we'll hope to finish next week. If I could come out with a top 5, heck, even a top 10, I'd probably be pretty well satisfied for Eldora. It's going to be kind of a crapshoot race. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of cautions. We'll just try to qualify well and stay out of the trouble.
Definitely, man. Well, congrats again on your race win. Anybody want to thank before we get you out of here again?
Yeah, it's just shout out to my new teammates, Driving Extreme Incorporated. Really looking forward to getting in some practice session with them guys and getting everybody up to speed and getting us all up there in the front, running good, top 5s, top 10s, week in and week out.
Definitely, man. All right, so that will do it here from the Racers Elite Truck Series. Let's go over the race results here. Alan Dobbs with the win, back-to-back. Shelly Kitzman in second. Austin Smith third. John Merriman, one of the biggest movers, up 18 spots this week. Finishes P4. Corey Kroll in fifth. Brandon Puffenbarger sixth. Braxton Barrett, little pit strategy there, comes out seventh. Joshua Neal eighth. Troy Thomas and Alex Teft round out that top 10. Kinsley Smith, Jeremy Carter, Dennis Kane, Jarrett Larder, Andrew Teft round out the top 15.
16, you have Philip Archibald, 17th, Gordon Spain, Michael Smith in 18th, Michael Brooks in 14th, Daniel Honeycutt coming home in 20th tonight, 21st, Truth Hoke, 22nd, Dwayne McMahon, 23rd, Lucas Simmers, 24th, John Schoenblacher, 25th, Brandon San Filipio, 26th, Brandon Honeycutt, 27th, David Davis, and then, of course, 28th position did not start. That would be Sean Lorbeski. Some great racing we saw out there all night long. These drivers put on a great show and, of course, made it very exciting there at the end.
Yeah, they definitely did. I want to thank you for joining me, David. It was good to have some company in the booth again. We'll see if we'll see what happens next week at Eldora. But like I said, thanks for joining me, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up. So from all the drivers of the Racers Elite Truck Series and all of us here at Sim Racing Media, I want to wish you guys good night, and we'll see you next time.